Good day to you all. June the 16th, 199 days left in the year. Welcome to the Thought for the Day, where you get your daily devotional, scripture, fun facts, history, and maybe a joke if you stick around to the end for the bonus facts. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel, click a like, share this with a friend, and thank you all for coming. I was just thinking June 16, in 2017, I was at the Arctic Circle and I got to witness the sunset at midnight and sunrise at midnight. 24 hours of sunlight. Amazing, amazing, amazing. But we have an amazing God, and let's get into it with the scripture. Psalm 25, verse 20. Oh, keep my soul and deliver me. Let me not be ashamed, for I put my trust in thee. For those reading the Bible in a year, today is Nehemiah chapter 4-6 and Acts chapter 2, 22-38, salvation message in Acts 2:38. Thoughts for the day. A rumor without a leg to stand on will get around some other way. The pursuit of happiness is the most ridiculous phrase. If you pursue happiness, you'll never find it. Dog chasing its tail. The fact is that to do anything worth doing, we must not stand back shivering and think of the cold and danger, but jump in and scramble through as well as we can. Motivation for today. I can't do it, never accomplish anything. I will try has performed wonders, particularly in rugby. On this day in history, in 1903, American car manufacturer Henry Ford forms the Ford Motor Company. In 1972 in America, security guards arrest 5 burglars inside the Democratic Party headquarters at the Watergate Hotel in Washington, D.C. 1992, U.S. President George W. Bush Sr. and Russian President Boris Yeltsin meet in Washington to produce an agreement for each country to cut its strategic weapons arsenals by almost 2/3 by the year 2003. And in 2016, Philadelphia is the first U.S. city to pass a tax on sweetened drink. Here's your personal story for today. Concert pianist Jeanette Haynen believes that structure of fine musical composition actually provides great freedom for a person who plays it. Within the structure, the so-called form, she says, is all the freedom in the world. It's easy to feel confined by structure in our faith because we have natural resistance to rules. But God's commands are given to enhance our lives rather than restrict them. 1 John 5:3 states, "This is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. Instead of weighing us down, they protect us from the burden of sin. As we follow his commands, we experience liberty." Speaking of an excellent musical composition, Jeanette Haynen says, "Under the laws of structure, you have the freedom to work in the freest way imaginable. What the composer has written is that which I honor." And my mother was a pianist, and the difference between a good pianist and a excellent pianist is the way they play within that structure, the emotion, the way they put the spirit into it. And that's often the way that we look at the Bible. It's our sheet music. Now the letter killeth, but the spirit bringeth life. And that could be the same thing. The Bible can be our musical composition with all the love, the overcoming, the healings, the signs, the wonder, the passion, the attitude of gratitude that comes out as we play that wonderful musical piece that the Lord has given us. So today we can play the song of life as God has written it. We can discover anew the promises of Christ to those who follow him. If you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed. And if you know the truth shall make you free. And that's John 8:31-32. Here's the devotional thought for today from Mark 13, verse 26. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in clouds with great power and glory. References today from the Song of Solomon, chapter 5, verses 8-16. And one of the highlights of any wedding is the moment when the bride first appears. The music swells, the congregation rises, and the groom looks down the aisle to see the one he loved dressed in a dazzling white gown. However, in the above verse, it is the groom who is described as dazzling white. a Hebrew word that literally means radiant. And like David, his father, Solomon is also characterized as ruddy or red. And that's the mark of physical attractiveness in Solomon's day, for Samuel 16:12. So the bride admires Solomon's dark hair and beautiful eyes, commenting on her beloved's physical features from head to toe. She also can perceive the image of Christ in the bride's description. But we shouldn't think of this as a picture of his physical appearance, or we'll miss the powerful imagery of Christ as our bridegroom. Just as the bride was overwhelmed when she saw the one she loved in his splendor, we too will be overcome when we see Christ in his glory. Revelation 1:13-17. Every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess that he is Lord. Let's do that willingly now rather than wait till the last minute and have it settled for us, shall we? So what is the most beautiful sight you have ever witnessed? Think of that wonderful sunrise, that sunset, as I said at the beginning, sitting there at the Arctic Circle, noticing that the sunrise and the sunset met at that exact pinnacle of midnight. What a wonderful thing it was. Maybe you saw a wonderful waterfall, the waterfall of Niagara Falls, or maybe it's a beautiful tree, a scene, something out in the big forest. Lots of things to see. And you look at somebody's face, and when they open a special gift from you, or it may have been the moment your spouse first came into view on the day of your wedding. None of this compares to the coming of Christ. And Mark 16:15 says, and he said unto them, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. Some of you may be stalled in your spiritual walk. Well, if you're here, I'm going to count you as the ones that are somewhat motivated, but maybe somebody will listen to this. You'll share this with a friend that might be stalled, and maybe they are stalled. You've gone so far and you can't quite go any farther. And maybe that's a challenge, is that quite often people go, I'll read the Bible, I'll come out to church after 4 years, I get my degree in Christianity, and then I move on. I don't need the Lord anymore. Or I got that healing, I got that victory, and that's all we want. We remember the story of Abraham's father, Terah, which means to delay. And he was on his way to the promised land, but he got comfortable and he delayed, he got stalled. You seem to have come to a place where it's easy to rest and not have to worry about anything else, just like Terah. Perhaps you were trying to build yourself up, get stronger and more active in the Lord, but now you feel there is no hope of completing the task. Never fear. God sends you, and you will be able to do whatever he has sent you to do. He tells us to go into all the world and preach the gospel. That doesn't mean everywhere for each one of us, but if each of us does our part, then we will have gone into all the world to preach the word. So if you are stalled, chances look slim of completing the task. Ask God to show you the path you need to go. Listen attentively, for he says his thoughts are not our thoughts, neither are our ways his ways, in Isaiah 55:8. The way we may want to do something may keep us from getting the task done. But if we listen to God, do it his way, then we will surely get moving again. And you don't have to go off to Africa or off to Papua New Guinea or Vanuatu or the parts of Europe. It can be as close as your next door neighbor's fence. So let's get out there and let's know that the Lord will give us the words in that moment. That's all for today. I got a couple of fun facts. Here they are. The Arctic tern, which is a small bird, it can fly a round trip from the Arctic to the Antarctic and back. And can you believe that? That's 20,000 miles a year. It's the longest migration of a bird. And 7-Eleven, that convenience store, used to have televised advertising. The animated commercial ran in 1949, had a singing rooster and an owl. Closing thought. Lord, I want to do more for you. Help me to serve my church better. Here's a riddle for today. What do you throw out when you want to use it, but take in when you don't want to use it? Throw out when you want to use it, take it back in when you don't want to use it. We'll get back to that in a second. Here's your joke. As a senior citizen was driving down the freeway, his phone rang and he picked it up on hands-free, and he heard his wife's urgent voice warning him, Herman, Herman, I just heard the news and there's a car going the wrong way on the 280. Please be careful. I know, said Herman, but it's not just one car, it's 100 of them. Back to the riddle. What do you throw away when you want to use it, but take in when you don't want to use it? The answer? An anchor. Throw it out when you want to use it and draw it in when you're ready to set sail. That's all I got. Thanks for coming. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow.